Hi, welcome to our Speak Up, Stand Out, Transform Your Voice Masterclass. And I'm going to hand over to Patty to start us off with just a little story about something we wanted to share.
Well, hello, my beautiful sisters, and thank you so much for attending our masterclass on how to step into your power and really move to the top of your game. I want to tell you a little story about two women that were in a program called Your Brave Voice, many of which the components are introduced into what Teresa and I are doing. And they both worked for a company in Bahrain. And one had been with the company for 10 years and the other had been with the company for 12 years. And the CEO has been with the company for 5 years. Now, these women were attending all the meetings, showing up. And one day the CEO came up to them and said, independently, how long have you been in the company? And the one gal said 10 years and the other one said 12 years. And he said, did you attend Your Brave Voice, that program with Patty Kennedy? And they said, yes. And he said, I owe you both an apology. Because in all of the years I've been here, I've never seen you and I've never heard you. But now you're raising your hand, you're stepping up, you're speaking up. And the short end of the story is that they have both been promoted to higher positions in leadership in that company. The point being, it's not about me, it's about the effects that you will all benefit from when you find that bravery, that courage, and the skill set that Teresa and I are going to share with you, and really step up, speak up, stand out, transform your voice, and make your business life an act of power. Teresa.
And I have a little story as well, because I work with so many different individuals, whether they're in the corporate world or they're running for an elected position or they're an entrepreneur. And one of my recent clients, she ran for the board of directors, and she is a fantastic individual. She is intelligent. She knows her heart. She knows her mind, but she also knew she needed assistance in order to continue to step into her power and actually recognize the strengths that she brings to the table. And that was what was really wonderful working with her, because we went through all of the different stages of one, identifying who you are, identifying the strengths that make you really strong, and then also putting everything into stories so that it's easy for you to retell or relive the things that you experienced in previous roles, so that when you do go for a really top level position, you are actually there in the moment. And for me and for her, she found that to be one of the most powerful things that she's ever gone through. She says sometimes you have to go back to being a student and being coached by someone in order to progress. And that's what Patty and I are here to do, to help people progress and, like she said, step up or speak up, stand out, and transform our voices. So we're going to get started with our little master class right now. And I'm going to share my screen just so that you guys are aware of where we are and who we are. So Patty, would you like to introduce yourself?
I would love to introduce myself. Thank you very much, Teresa. My name is Patty Kennedy. I'm a Canadian living now in Dubai, and I have been a coach for a very long time. Some people say I shouldn't say how long. I started out coaching as a professional figure skater 52 years ago. I became disabled, but whatever I had, no matter how much my body hurt, I always had my voice. And I had my teachers at school and my mom who said, you should, if this skating thing doesn't work out, you should become a speaker and a writer. And I took their advice. And so for the last almost 30 years, I have been working in the field of communication, leadership, voice. I developed my voice as a radio journalist. And these are the skill set that I bring to you today. And I just want to say one thing. My partner, Teresa, who she will introduce herself in a moment, we don't really have any magic sauce, you know. You have everything you need. And Teresa and I are going to help you uncover it. Teresa, please introduce yourself to our women today.
Thank you, Patty. Following that introduction is always really quite daunting because I love this woman so much, and that's why we decided to work together, because there is something special when you connect with an individual. And when I started in this executive coaching position, it didn't happen overnight. I had lost my voice. I had gone through a really bad marriage, abusive, different issues that I, really needed to escape from. And it took me a long time to actually reevaluate my life and reassess where I wanted to go so that I could keep a roof over the heads of me and my children. And in order to find my voice, I knew I needed a little bit more help than just the people at work or the people that I dealt with on a day-to-day basis. And so I found the courage to reach out to someone really special who happens to be, sat across the table from me right now. And Patty helped me delve down into my heart, get out of my head and get down into my heart. And by doing that, it allowed me to also help other people to do the same thing. So I've been in this I guess this career now for over 20 years. It was a most wonderful choice to go into when I left the corporate world, because I was in a corporate world for 16 years. But now I know that I'm helping more people reach their position in life that they want to be in, instead of reaching the objectives of a big corporation. So I want to help individuals help themselves step into their power and find that voice again if they've ever lost it. So that's me and Patty in a nutshell. And we absolutely want to jump right in and start this masterclass off right now. And the way we're going to do it is, because you are on this call today, you're going to have the opportunity to take away 2 bonuses that Patty and I have pulled together. The first one on the screen is one of mine. It's called Presenting at Your Best in 26 Steps, and it's 26 weeks of figuring out how to pull together your story in the most effective way. And the link is there on the screen. We'll put it in the chat later for you to take away. But if you are on this call, we'll also send you an email to update you on that particular link. And Patty, can you talk about your bonus?
Well, my bonus is a 15-page ebook for you, filled with ideas on how you can be really engaging when you're speaking. First of all, the voice in many ways is our superpower, and I will be talking a little bit about that later on. As a radio journalist, I learned how to use this magnificent instrument because I didn't have lights, I didn't have body language. I was just me in this little tiny booth trying to keep the people listening to me. And so I had to learn how to use my voice. And I want to share this with you because the power of your voice is something that most speakers forget about. And this little booklet talks about the musicality of the language, how to work pauses, how to warm up your voice. It's a really good little booklet, I believe, and it's got exercises from way back in 1990 when I first enrolled in broadcasting school at the National Institute of Broadcasting in Toronto in Canada. Really good exercises. The combination of these 2 will really help you have a breakthrough, and you'll find yourself speaking very powerfully. And that's the goal.
And this is what we usually hear from people. They say, I don't know how to use my voice, or I don't know how to pull together my presentation. So these 2 bonuses, even without staying on this call, we want you to stay on to the end though. These 2 bonuses will really set you up to get you on that right track. But we want to keep you here just a little bit longer because there's some really important things that Patty and I want to go through.
I just want to make a comment to that, Teresa, because it's not that we want to keep you on to the end of the call because have we ever got something good for you? No. Teresa and I have talked a lot about this. We don't want this to be one of those smarmy, schmarmy sales calls. Teresa and I are dedicated coaches. And we want you, this is a class. We're not calling this a webinar. This is not for you to become our prime students. Of course, we're always open to that, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is that, we both believe that the world is waiting to hear from women. The children need to hear the voices of women. And I always add that the children not yet born are banking on women bringing our perspective to the table. So Teresa and I are businesswomen, absolutely. But this is not one of those, if you stay on to the end, if I got a deal for you, buy one, get one free. We're not doing that. This is about you waking up tomorrow morning and your toolbox is quite a bit heavier than it was before you started this class, because we cannot empower you. We can only give you skills to empower yourselves. I just wanted to add that because I think that's something that separates us from a lot of really great webinars. But at the end of it, it's just always this sales pitch. I feel like they're trying to sell me an old car without an engine sometimes. It's not that.
So my question now to you is, are you ready to get to work? Are you ready, Patty?
I am ready. Let's get down and do the work.
All right. So before we do the work, we want to invite you to understand where we're coming from at the very beginning. We have a sacred circle contract, and we want to make sure that this is a safe environment for everybody. And Patty, I want you to explain that to them a little bit more so they understand exactly what we mean by this.
The sacred circle contract in this situation, which is a public web masterclass, is really that we acknowledge that everyone is a student and everyone is a teacher. And that includes Teresa and me. We are both students. And I think Teresa will agree, who are our best teachers are our students. So we acknowledge that everybody's voice is equal. We acknowledge that when one person is speaking, we do not interrupt them. We allow them to speak. We do not judge them. Sometimes, when you're uncovering, when you're stepping into your power, it's not just easy peasy. There's a psychological component to this. The very first day I worked with Teresa, I said, who stole your voice? And boy, did we ever go deep right away. So we have to respect each other. And when we get into a smaller kind of group, then we ask for confidentiality, because we don't want people to feel that if I say this, is it going to be blabbed all over the internet? In a program such as a masterclass of what we're doing today, confidentiality, unless you ask it, at which point we would pause the recording so that you would feel free to speak. But as long as your story is okay to go out there and your picture is okay to go out there, fine. If not, you have to let us know at the beginning. But the whole sacred circle contract is an agreement that we make, that we will honor each other, that we will respect each other, that we will not judge each other. I'm a firm believer that it is not men in the world who hold us back. It's we women who hold our sisters back because we judge each other and we're critical. And I want you to rise above that. We want you to rise above that. Let's create a community of women who support each other. The world needs us. The world is waiting for us. I don't see any women in all these wars. I just see men. And I'm like, where are the women? Because the women would be talking differently. And that's what I mean when I say the world is waiting for us. So we honor each other. We respect each other. Everybody's voice is equal. We don't care what color you are, what creed, what religion, nothing. You come and we give you the respect. That's the sacred circle.
Brilliant. So now we know where we're starting and where we're going, and that's fabulous. So let's get into what today's masterclass is going to be all about. There are going to be 4 different sections. The first one, we're going to do a little introduction to the voice itself, and I can't wait for Patty to get into that. The second section, we're going to actually help you understand, what does it mean to step into your power? Because we can throw that around a lot, and a lot of people think, I have no idea, but we all have our own individual power. Now we're going to figure out how we step into it. And the third section is, how do we identify our superpower? Because we all have one. And we're going to let you know exactly what that superpower is after we've identified it through this masterclass. And the last section we'll work on is why. Once you know how to use your voice, step into your power, and identify that superpower, You now have to talk about it. And that means stories are going to be so important, and we'll explain to you why. So let's kick this thing off. Our first section, I'm going to hand over to Patty.
Thank you. So many times I collaborate with people who are professional speech coaches. Teresa and I are both that. But I always say, where's the component on voice? Many times I'm speaking to groups of professional speakers and I say, how many of you warmed up your voice today? Nobody. How many of you are aware of the ability, the power of your voice? So for me, and I think this is one thing that will always differentiate Teresa and me from the crowd, is that we really focus on the sound of the voice, not just finding the voice, what's your opinion, but using the voice to really impact and take your message. So Melinda Gates has a quotation that I just love there. A woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman, but the search to find that voice can be remarkably difficult. I believe that for women to succeed in today's world, it's more important than ever, that we speak up, that we stand out, and that we speak, just like those women in Bahrain, that we speak not only to be heard, but also to be seen. Because as long as we remain invisible, we will not be able to have any impact. And it's really about women now. Listen, we're not dissing the brothers here, because we need the brothers. We're the yin to their yang. We have to have the two. So this is not like we do this without men. No. But we need to pull our weight, I think, just a little bit more. And it's going to take courage and bravery to actually dig deep and find out, well, what really is my voice? Not my speaking voice, but my voice, me, my identity. Next slide, please, Teresa. I love what Henry Wadsworth Longfellow said. And I remember in school, I did not like his poetry. I didn't like reading it. But as an adult, I've matured, thank goodness. And I love this. The human voice is the organ of the soul. But just think about that for a minute. The organ of the soul. When you speak, whether it be at home, in your community, at work, are you really speaking from your soul? If you're like the vast majority of women in the world, the answer is no. I want to, but I don't, because I'm afraid. I don't know what the reaction will be at work. They'll interrupt me. They talk over me. They scroll through their phones. At home, nobody's listening to me. I'm going to suggest that you may be speaking more from your head and less from your heart and your soul. So I want you to think of this. It's the organ of your soul. Your voice, my friends, is your identity. Not only your point of view voice, but somebody phones you, you recognize their voice. It's such an integral part of who we are. And let's become aware that this magnificent instrument is, in fact, playing the music of our souls, of our hearts and souls. Next slide, please, Teresa. I think this is one of the most magnificent quotations by Richard Strauss, from the very musical Johann Strauss, all of those people from way back when. The human voice is the most beautiful instrument of all, but it is the most difficult to play. Now, what does that mean? Well, because the human voice is two instruments at once. It's a wind instrument, because, as you're going to learn in a moment, a great voice happens when the right amount of air comes across your vocal cords. So it's like an oboe or a flute. But as you're also going to learn in this masterclass today, the voice is like a stringed instrument, like a beautiful Stradivarius or a guitar. It's about the vibrational quality of the vocal cords as that air comes across. So when you're learning to the human voice and how to work it to your favor, you're learning how to play two instruments at once. And very few people outside of the broadcast industry or the acting or singing industry have ever really given much thought to their voice. You know, one of my favorite teachers, Earl Nightingale, who's long gone now, but I listen to him all the time. He says one of the tragedies of the human being is that all the great gifts that we are given for free, we take for granted. For example, our voice. Also, he talks about training the mind. We just let the mind go, go, go. We do the same with our voice. These are gifts that we are given, and they can be trained, and you can learn how to play this instrument in ways that will shock you, how people hear you. And it won't be long before your colleagues, your boss, your superiors are saying, I'm noticing you more, I'm hearing you more, I'm seeing you more. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll be able to sell your product or your service with much more confidence and strength. Next slide, please, Teresa. So we're going to do an exercise now. So I told you, you know, this is a working class where this is not just sitting down here learning about all these cool things. You got to work now, because that's the only way that you grow. Oprah Winfrey, whom I really do respect, and you know, she, again, there's another woman who found her voice, both her opinion voice and her speaking voice, and look at what's happened to her. What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have. So, my dear sisters, if you want that voice to become the organ of your soul, you must speak your truth. So here's a little exercise. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, and I'll time you on my little trusty phone here. And I want you to write at the top of the page, these things about me I know to be true. So take a moment, write that down. And then I want you just to make a list. Stream of consciousness writing, no editors allowed, because the editor will say, oh, you can't say that. Oh, that's stupid. Oh, I can't say that. Let the editor go. Tell him you'll meet him much later this afternoon. But for right now, just allow your soul to speak and start every sentence in a list with I am. And here's an example. I am strong. I am brave. I am beautiful. I am love. I am courageous. I am capable. And just make a list. And you know what, my dears? Even if you don't believe it and it's something you aspire to, write it down. I'm just getting my phone here ready so that I can time you on this. I have too many links open. I'm sorry. So you've got that written down. Make a list. I'm going to give you 3 minutes, starting right now. I am. Go for it. Please don't doubt yourself, even if it makes you feel scared. I am magnificent. I am powerful. You can use the words I'm giving you. You can use whatever words you want. Just keep moving in the positive.
I am woman, hear me roar.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a Linda Ronstadt song.
We're so trained as women, regardless of culture, to not talk about ourselves this way. Oh, who does she think she is? Oh, there she goes again. We have to resist that.
I am supportive.
I am honest.
I am powerful.
Absolutely. If you say, I am scared, but I am strong, there's nothing wrong with admitting, but I don't want you to stay there. If you are scared, write the positive antidote to it immediately.
And
Coming
that,
up 2 minutes.
and that's powerful, Patty, because when we say I'm scared, but that little but negates all the things you said before.
Absolutely.
So we
Absolutely.
positive.
You have 1 minute to go. I know sometimes it can feel like it never ends. If in the person-to-person class, we have to do this for 7 minutes. So be thankful it's just 3. Keep going. There's so much work being done today on the power of the I am. It goes way back to biblical times. Yahweh, the Jewish God, was I am. Jesus said, I am. It goes back through all of the traditions. I am that. I am. You have a half a minute to go, my dears. Go for it. Dare yourself to be I am all that and a bag of chips.
I am gorgeous.
Absolutely. 10 seconds to go. Okay, excellent. Time is done. Now I want you to write at the bottom of the page, I am that, comma, I am, exclamation point.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much, Patty.
Now, Maya Angelou said that words really come to life when we put our voice to it. How many times, if you're like me, you write journals, and then you go back a few years late, a journal from a few years ago, and go, I don't remember writing that. Wow, that's really good. Because the words will lay dormant until we give them voice. So your homework is to stand in front of the bathroom mirror or any mirror and not just say those I ams, but you declare them. You declare them to the world. I am powerful. I am brilliant. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am brave. I am kind. I am generous. And you speak them with conviction, even if you don't believe them. And if you're like me, you'll be writing, I write I ams all the time. I write I am lists all the time in my journal. I write almost every morning. Good morning, dear heart, is what I always start my journal. And then I do my gratitude, and then I do my I ams. Because you see, you've got to have your courage and your bravery to stand up in front of the world and know who you are. And if you don't know the song that's in your heart and your soul, and if you cannot stand up in front of the world and say, I am these things, then you're just going to get rolled over. You're just going to get knocked over. Now, in this masterclass, we don't have time to go through all of them, but there's two more that we do. And I really want to address this after we've done the truth and we've declared it. Do you know, recently I was speaking on an engagement. We were all online, and there was a beautiful woman from the United States. And she said something that actually brought tears to my eyes. She said that when asked, only 4% of women in the world think that they are beautiful. It still chokes me up. Are you kidding? We're beautiful. Look at our shape, look at our face, look at the way we move in the world. Let's take 3 minutes. Now, we're not going to do it now, but today, because we're in a short class, but this is homework you can do. See, with us, you got to do the work. Because if you don't, it's not magic sauce. You got to do the work, because we want you to empower yourself. I want you now to write, I love the beautiful way in which I love the beautiful way in which I love the beautiful way in which I move in the world. I love the beautiful way in which I love. I love the beautiful way in which I coach. If 96% of us beautiful women are walking around thinking we are not beautiful, we are not enough, we will never be seen, we will never be heard, we will never stand up and declare to the world who is waiting, the children, boys and girls who are waiting for us. We'll just be lying back there feeling I'm not enough. So you do that with your, I love the beautiful way in which and then you stand up in front of the mirror and you declare that. And the final one is, what's really good about me? Just write about, acknowledge your goodness, because so many times in the world, women don't do it. You know, we have such high standards for ourselves. The studies will show a man and a woman will see a job posting. The man has 65% of the abilities. I'm going to apply for that job. I think I can get it. And the woman will have 95%. Oh, I don't think I'm ready. This is not a bad thing. This is how we are. But let's beat that a little bit by saying, but I am brilliant. I can do it. I'm beautiful. The way in which I work is beautiful. The way my generous heart is so beautiful. Acknowledge our beauty. It's not about how you look on a magazine. It's not about being skinny. It's not about being this color, that color, these eyes. That's all industry. That's all fashion industry. Got nothing to do with reality. Dig deep. We want you to empower yourselves by digging deep, deep down into the soul, your beautiful soul, and find this beautiful garden waiting for you to grow it, to water it, and take yourself to the world. Because I keep saying it, the world is waiting for you, Teresa.
Fabulous. Oh my word. I love those exercises because I have done them not only once or twice or three times. I do what you tell me to. I am this person that follows the rules, right? But I make sure that I am continuously, developing, and we develop by using these declarations to push us forward. And that leads us so perfectly into what does it mean to step into your power. Once you've gone through the I am beautiful, I am good, I am this, then we can start to dig down deeper into you as yourself and what you need to do in order to understand what it means to step into your power. Now, I work with a lot of individuals in corporations and entrepreneurs and people looking for promotion, or they're looking for a chance to change roles. And there are many things that employers are looking for when it comes to hiring that person that will be the right candidate for that role. And, I want you thinking about the things that I'm going to put up here on the slide, and I want you to answer in your head or on a piece of paper, yes or no, yes or no. Do I do this? Do I not do this? And if I don't do this, why don't I do it? Right? One of the first things that every employer is looking at is they want somebody who isn't afraid to develop solutions, because there are so many people that come to the boss, or they come to a manager, and they say, oh my gosh, there's something missing in this program. And the boss looks at them and goes, so what you gonna do about it? Right? And if you know that you can come up with that solution, don't take the problem to the boss, take the solution to the boss. And if you're the boss, you've got to come up with that solution, right? You can't just sit there and go, oh my gosh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And there are a lot of people that do, they get wrapped up in all the negativity, and that just kind of like pulls you down. It's like the Craig Valentine has this little saying where there'll always be people that keep pulling on you like crabs in a barrel, pulling you down, pulling you down, pulling you down. So what you got to do is push them aside and climb to the top of that barrel with the solutions that you can bring to the party. So think about a time when you yourself went to somebody or just complained about how bad things were. Write down that time you did that. And your homework, and me and Patty both, we do lots of homework. Your homework here is now come up with a solution for what you could have done if you had thought about providing the solution instead of the problem. And going forward, now you know you need to have a solution for everything instead of just allowing somebody else to take the ball and run with it. Because you know what? If you're going to step into your power, that manager or yourself included has to know that there's a way to go forward. And that's how you keep learning and progressing, is by coming up with those really powerful solutions. Now, we could be the fount of all knowledge. And if we keep all that knowledge to ourselves, what does that mean about us? Because if you are selfish and you think, no, this is me, I'm the only one that can do this, this is my little project, I'm not sharing with anybody, then that affects the entire team, your entire management source, it is probably the worst thing that you can do. And we want to make sure that if you have something special, this is your little gift, then you share it with other people. So if there's somebody new that's coming into your company and you think, oh, I'm going to help induct them. There may be this official induction program that they have already got, but nobody knows the company better than someone who's been there longer. And if you've been there longer, even if you've been there a week longer, you know more than that person that's walking through the door that first day. So find a way to share the knowledge you have to help someone, make their way in this new position a lot smoother. We want them to have like a smooth transition instead of having that hurdle that keeps getting placed in front of them. And they have to keep jumping it and they keep tripping. We don't want people to trip up. We want to share our knowledge so that they clear that hurdle, like all of these wonderful athletes that we see on TV. There's one there. Oh my gosh, there are so many beautiful athletes, and they are all being coached by people who push them to their limit. They're sharing their knowledge with them so that they can be a better athlete. And boy, do they clear those hurdles, Patty. Wow, really fantastic. So think about a time when you could share your knowledge with somebody. And why aren't you doing it? So write down.
Show your beauty. Show your power. Show your beauty. Show.
And this is why I say this leads perfectly from what Patty did previously into this little exercise now. Yeah. I almost don't have to say anything. I don't know. I mean, if you could see behind me right now, I have so many books because I love to learn. And I am continuously trying to keep on top of everything. What else can I do to be a better coach? What else can I do to help somebody over a particular issue that they may be struggling with? And if you are that person that is always keeping your skills up to date or improving them, then you're going to be visible. And this is where you're stepping into your power even more. You will be noticed by the individuals you are working with or for, or you are working yourself. So never be afraid to buy that book and look into whatever that particular skill is you want to look into. I recently bought a book from a lady called Mildred Talabi. And we are all looking to be as visible as possible. And she is the guru of visibility on LinkedIn. And I love throwing her name out there because she did it herself. She found a way to tackle her insecurities because she's an introvert. And I know there are a lot of introverts out there, some that are actually extrovert, but really truly introverts, when we dig down into it. Yeah. No, I'm an extrovert though. That's what I do. But with what Mildred does, she actually helps you become even more powerful in what you want to show the world about what you're doing. And the best place to be visible, especially in this world of professionalism, is LinkedIn. People go looking for professionals on LinkedIn. They go looking for people they can learn from, or that they can train, or that they can help, or that can help them. So be that lifelong learner, even if it is trying to find a way to be more visible on LinkedIn so that you can share your wonderful knowledge with other people and solving problems. Yeah. So we're doing.
Could you put Mildred's name in the chat and the name of the book?
Yes.
Because I too would like that book. You're absolutely, I love this. Be a lifelong learner. I've been coached since I was 10 and I'm 70 and I have many coaches. I'm always coached, always learning. It makes life worthwhile, keeps me young.
I had to look at the book to figure out what the title was. It's Start Being Visible.
While you're typing that in, I just want to say that one thing, women, thank you very much. One thing that women, we don't want to ever ask for help either. It's like it's imposter syndrome. If I ask for help, they'll know that I don't really know what I'm doing. No. If that's an issue with you, trust us here. Just keep learning, keep studying, keep an open mind. I'm so happy to say that in the last 2 weeks, I have taught 2 young people ChatGPT.
I know, and that's fabulous, Patty, because AI, artificial intelligence, is probably one of the biggest skills everybody needs to start looking into. And it's been
Absolutely.
around for a long time, and people don't realize that. But artificial intelligence is becoming the go-to technology that will help you not only learn more about what you want to share with the world, but it will make it a lot easier. And it's not like you just take what it gives you. You actually use it
Yeah.
and develop your own style if you're writing articles or you're teaching courses or
Yeah. Yeah.
anything along those lines. But yeah, chat GPT is one of my favorite things at the moment. So
It's the entrepreneur's assistant, no
it
doubt about it.
absolutely, oh gosh,
Yeah.
chat GPT, whether it's version
Amazing.
3.4, 3.5, or it's version 4.0, go for it. And there may even be a 0.5 now. I don't know. There may be a version 5.
Oh my
But
goodness. Yeah.
um, but this leads nicely into this next one. It's like, you have got to actually start shouting about who you are. And if you're looking for promotion, you're wanting to take that next step on the ladder, or you want to, even jump outside of the business that you're in and jump into something new, people need to know that that's what you're aiming for. Because I can remember working in the corporate world, and there was this brilliant software engineer. He was fantastic, and nobody knew him. Nobody knew him because he never talked about what he did. He never talked about his achievements. He never shouted from the rooftops what he was so flippin' good at. And I thought, why are you so quiet? And he really looked at me and he says, well, because they know what I do. They see my work, but surely they'll recognize me. And I can tell you right now, they won't. And he never got recognized. And he did get promotion, but it took him a lot longer because it took somebody actually believing in him and researching him to actually help him jump over that hurdle of really self-belief. It really, if you are not shouting about your career, then don't you believe in the hard work you've been doing? Don't you believe in what you have is important for other people to take advantage of, to learn from? Um, and I have had so many wonderful people that I've worked with that are so quiet about shouting about things that they do. And it's a wonderful lady that she was recognized as like the top um, kickboxer in the European Commonwealth Games. She took silver, and she never wanted to talk about it. She says it would be, oh, it's too big. It's and she did it as a Muslim, so she wore the hijabi and everything. First woman to actually be recognized to allowed to do this, and she kept hiding that underneath everything. It's like hiding your light under a bushel. If people don't know it and they can't see that this is a possibility, then that's closing a door. It's all about representation too, isn't it? You will aim for something if you can see yourself in that other person. So don't be afraid about shouting about what you've done, what you've achieved. Start making that list now of what you've gone through and what you want to achieve in the future, so people know this is where you're going. Yeah. Powerful, powerful, powerful stuff.
You
Ah,
know, there are centuries behind why women don't. And it doesn't matter what culture it is, there's a strong socialization. You and I have worked with women from 100, myself, 120 some countries now. I've never met a woman yet that was really comfortable about shouting out her success. And if she was then uncomfortable because people were always saying, shh, shh. So there are years of socialization why we don't do it. And we're all in this together. It doesn't, as I said, it doesn't matter where you come from. So I really want to just agree with you. Study after study shows that 75% of the time women remain silent when we're in the minority. And it's up to us
yes.
to do what you're saying. This is brilliant advice. So my dear sisters listening, this is really important advice. And find your bravery, do your I ams. and know your beauty, and then tell the world about it, because the world's waiting for you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The world, you're so right, Patty. The world is waiting for you. And the last thing that I want to talk about as far as speaking and jumping into your power is you have absolutely got to be willing to go that extra mile. And the majority of women that I've worked with actually do. They go even further than that extra mile. They probably go an extra 10 to 100 miles, because they know there's something innate about what we do as women. We actually want to be the best that we can be. And Patty touched on it a little bit earlier previously about, if a man is going for a job, they'll have 65% of the skill set on that job specification, and they'll go, yeah, I'm 100%, I can do this. The woman will look at it and say, well, I only have 10% of the requirements, and she won't even put herself, or she'll have 100% of the requirements and she'll still be wondering, should I or shouldn't I? We question and we keep analyzing and reassessing, and we have got to get out of that. We've absolutely just got to go for it. It's the Nike tick, the Nike tick. Just do it and see what happens. Take your achievements, your accomplishments, your successes, your superpower, and go that extra mile. Patty, next one.
I am good enough. I am enough. Women around the world have I'm not enough syndrome. And we all have it again. And we just have to stand, that's why the I ams are so important. Okay, now. Okay, I'm a little bit biased on this, but this is many years. I've been studying voice since 1990, and we're at 2023. So that's a long time, 33 years. And I will continue to study the voice until I can no longer study, because it's fascinating. Now, this one statement here: the electrical power of our voice, of your voice, actually can amplify the imagination of your audience and can actually activate impulses directly into the receptors of your audience. So what does that mean? This magnificent instrument, the most magnificent of them all, but the most difficult to play, when you learn just the basics on how to play it, the vibrational quality called the resonance of your voice actually has the ability to go into your audience's mind, their brain, and create new synapses, new ways for the brain to think about what it is you are talking about. Now think about that. This magnificent instrument I often call the great persuader. When you become aware that by using this voice, this magnificent instrument, how you can actually get your boss, your potential client, your rebellious little daughter or son, when you can use this instrument to vibrate in such a way that it affects the way in which your audience is thinking. Now think of it in the other side. How many times have you heard someone, and I'm sad to say that it's mainly women, with a voice that is so irritating? I was at an event recently. Now, men have an advantage of us because they have a naturally lower register, and that vibrates better. I was at an event here in Dubai not long ago. I was so looking forward to it. And there was a man as an MC. I can remember almost everything he said. He had a voice, as they say, he's got a voice for radio. And then the CEO of this women's organization came on, and I'm telling you, everybody was going, oh my God, what a terrible voice. And people who know me were, Patty, you got to work with her. The voice was so high. It was just because she was tense, and she had these tense vocal cords, and the voice was way up there, and it was very edgy, and it sounded more like she was crabby. If she had only known some very basic examples, tools that I'm going to share with you in just like 5 minutes, that can really make a difference to your audience. How many times have you heard someone speak and you think, oh my God, I can't? And or maybe you don't even remember what they said, because maybe they had a voice like this. Or maybe they were speaking in just one tone like this, and there was no pausing and there was no breaking, and it was just all monotone, and then they had no pausing and then me, or they were monotonous. Because when you're monotone, you're monotonous. That's why the little ebook that you will get as being for being a member of this class today should really help you. So I want you to know that right here is the greatest gift that you can have to promote your business if you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. I have been all my life. Teresa comes from the corporate world and then into entrepreneurship, which is a major change. But maybe you are in that company and maybe your boss has never seen you before and maybe you want a promotion. You know you deserve it. Maybe you have the answer that everybody is waiting for, but you say it in this nosy little voice. And then everybody just talks over you, or they scroll, or through their phone. They're not listening. It's up to you to develop this instrument. You can command tremendous power. And people will lean in to listen to you, not because they can't hear you, but because they want to hear everything you say. And they will not back up like this because it's too annoying or too loud. They will not pick up their phones. They will not start talking to each other. You will have them right there in the palm of your hands, listening to you. This is your greatest tool. And everything that Teresa and I teach you all comes nicely together when you understand, oh my goodness, what we can do. Next slide, please, Teresa. Roger Love, very well-known, famous voice coach in Los Angeles, coaches all the great actors. Gwyneth Paltrow, when you hear him speak, he talks a lot about all who he coaches. It's very impressive, but he says something here that I think is really important. A great voice happens when the right amount of air meets the right amount of vocal cord. So now I'm going to show you. As soon as I see what happens as soon as I raise my shoulders, you see, look at what hear the difference in my voice. It's tinny, it's thin, but when I relax, you hear the difference here? So I can access the lower register, my voice vibrates better. Now, in today's busy world, so many of us get caught up in this kind of breathing. The shoulders are up, the air never gets down into the belly. This kind of breathing is really great if there's a tiger standing in front of you, because if there's a tiger standing in front of you, you don't want to go, what will I do? You want to be like this. You want to be on edge. You want to do something fast, fight or flight. So many of us. I was working with a CEO, a CFO recently, very powerful woman. She's got this awful voice and she couldn't breathe down into her belly. And that's what you've got to do. So if you do yoga, if you're a swimmer, if you're a singer, if you're a meditator, you already know about breathing into the diaphragm, called belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. So I want you for a moment just to become aware. Where are you breathing? Oh, your shoulder. The CFO, she just couldn't breathe without raising her shoulders. And we spent a lot of time. And finally, at the end of that session, she was able to do it. And she's, oh my goodness, that my voice sounds different. Yeah. Because a great voice happens when the right amount of air comes across the right amount of vocal cord. You should Google or YouTube, what do the vocal cords look like? You'll be shocked. They're these little itty bitty things. Why do so many pop singers today have voice problems? They don't breathe properly. They don't study this. They're gifted singers, but they don't, again, they take for granted this magnificent gift. So breathing, I want you to put your hands on your belly, just below your belly button there, your navel. And as you inhale, I really want you to think of opening up your rib cage and really allowing that air to go down and fill up your tummy. Now, women, we don't like to have a big tummy, but nobody's looking. So just fill that tummy up. And then as you exhale, really contract that belly. As you exhale, pull the belly in, move the belly button towards the spine. And as you inhale, let it go out, way out. And as you exhale, really contract it. Now, next slide, please, Teresa. Because now we're going to do the pa, ta, ka, ma exercise. Now, this is only going to take a few moments. And again, homework, because it's work. There's no magic sauce. You got to do it. And if you want it, You'll do it. And this only takes like a minute. So no, don't say I don't have time. All of the exercises that Teresa and I give you take a couple of minutes because we work with adults. We know you don't have time to do hours of homework. It's not school. It's experiential learning. You got to do what we ask you to do because you got to experience it. And that's the way because as Bob Marley said, who feels it knows it. When you feel something, you know it. Okay, feet on the ground. Don't lean back on the chair, please, but sit up straight, not like you're in the military stiff, but you know, if you know that as somebody's got a string from your tailbone and it's going right up your spine to the top of your head. Fill up the air. You should have water when you're doing this. Record yourself too when you're doing your homework, and this is what I want you to do. Let me get my breath going. You breathe in through the mouth, the nose, and out through the mouth, obviously. And many of you will be hearing and many of you will think you have your mouth wide open, but you don't. Many of my students, they go, no, I do have my mouth wide open. And then I take a video and they're going, You want to be able to move your mouth. There's elocution and tongue twister practice in my booklet because you want to be able to move your mouth. Because the more you open your mouth, listen, how the sound gets bigger. And as I'm running out of air, I open my mouth even more and the sound stays very strong. We'll do ta now, okay? You can do it with me. Filling up your belly, breathing in through the nose. Ta. Now, even my voice this morning, I don't know why. It's stopping a little bit. It's very common. You may feel that ta. It's because your vocal cords are saying, wait a minute. Wait, what are you doing? And you have to say, no, you listen to me, you little tiny vocal cords. You have been my master long enough. And now I am taking control. I'm asking you to stay open. I'm asking you to stay turned on. And they will do it. Let's do cup, filling up the belly, breathing through the nose, opening the diaphragm, taking the breath all the way down to a nice big fat Buddha belly. Ka, open your mouth really wide. Ka. And you can keep opening your mouth because when you're speaking and you're running out of breath, you've really got to be articulating. If you're not articulating, the people in the back row have no idea what you are talking about. I want you to remember one thing. The best message is the message that is felt. You should write that down. The best message is the message that is felt. Think about it. When you really are vibing with that person that's speaking, when you really feel what they're saying, you always remember. So use your voice to vibrate. Now let's do the ma, and I want you to hold the a little bit longer, and it'll make sense in a moment. I'll tell you why. But for the time being, breathing in through the nose. Now, if many of you are like my students, I can't hear it. And they go, why can't, Patty? So, yeah, that's very good news. It means you need to practice. It means there's so much room for your voice to improve. If you do this a minute a day, that's all it takes. I promise you, a minute. Pa, ta, ka, ma. 4 breaths, 4 good long exhales. Run through it 3 times if you can. Do it driving. Do it when you're doing the dishes. Do it whenever. We all have a little bit of dead time where we're not focused and busy. Just do it. And I promise you that when you get that breath and when you become the master of your breath going across the vocal cords, you will have better control of your voice. And here's one other thing for many of you who are speakers. Many people say, when I finish speaking at the end of the day, Patty, I'm just exhausted. My voice is sore. Because you're not practicing enough, number one, you're not warming up. I can do 3 days of 8 hours a day and I'm fine. Now, if I'm doing 3 hours, 8 hours a day of just vocal exercise, the vocal cords will get tired because they're exercises. But if I'm speaking, I'm fine. I've trained my voice. So 1 minute a day. Next slide, please, Teresa. Because now if there was any secret sauce into getting that voice of yours going, and you've got the air now going across your vocal cords, this is the best thing you can do. How do you increase the resonance of your voice? You hum. Feel the vibration. And in the booklet, there's different humming scales that you can go up and down. You don't have to be musical. You could be like me, can't carry a tune in a bag, but I love to do my humming. So you start with the natural register. Now go down like a foghorn. Go up into the nasal passage. Because we have three voices. We have face voice, we have throat voice, we have chest voice. English has three notes: banana, organize. Three notes, three voices, put them all together, and you are sounding magnificent. So the instructions are there, and in the booklet, there are different exercises for you to do. And it's very self-explanatory. And I want you to practice. Now, again, a minute here, 3 minutes here. You can go up and down. You can do do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If you want, I have a low voice, as you know, but and women hum bass lines. Your favorite song, hum the bass lines, because you're already really good in the note, in the face, the face voice. Many women I work with, they have this kind of voice, you know, it's a little bit sarcastic. It's all coming out of the nose here. And they don't realize that they sound sarcastic, but it's because they're using the face voice way up here in the nose. If you're always just hearing the throat voice, you're missing the bottom end. You want to have access to all three ranges. When you do voice work and these little exercises, there's no right or wrong way, there's your way. And here's a hint. The sounds that you can sustain the longest with the least amount of pressure or exertion, that's your register. You're looking for three comfortable ranges. Now, of course, I could go on, you could tell probably I could go on forever talking about the voice. There's so much we could do, but I really encourage you, go through that booklet, follow the instructions, do the pata kama, do all the humming, do the elocution, eat, each, green pea, do the tongue twisters, do the exercises. In 30 days, people will be noticing and hearing you. They might say, have you lost weight? Did you get your hair cut? They'll know something's different about you. They might not know at first what it is, but you'll have a different impact. My dear sisters, I'm saying it all the time. The world is waiting for you and me and for the little ones coming, the young girls coming. It's up to us. Do this. Make a difference. As Teresa was just saying, step into your power and own it. Teresa.
Wow, wow, wow. Do you know, Patty, I'm sitting here thinking 30 days and you can be a different person. You can sound like a different person. You can feel like a different person. You can actually be a person you want to be and actually be heard and understood. And the most important thing, remembered. We always want to be remembered. We don't want to be that person that kind of blends into the background, that little wallflower. Because if you are not visible, if you are not vocal enough, nobody's going to know who you are.
You might as well stay home.
Yeah. So we're going to think about how can we now use everything that's Patty given us here to actually bring into our lives stories. We have lots of stories. I mean, I don't know about you, but when my kids were little, I used to read them stories all the time. And these different things that I want to focus on is a way for you to continue to step into your power. But we do this by sharing our stories, our experiences, the things we've been successful at, the things that we know that we are really good at, and somebody has come to us to ask us about it and to help them do it. You know, it's like those 6 things that we put on that first slide, how to step into your power. There are so many ways now that you can shout it from the rooftops and do it in a way that isn't arrogant, that isn't boasting, but is actually helping you be recognized for the powerhouse you are. Because you wrote that down in the I am powerful. Now let's see if we can figure out how to do that. And one of the things that I love doing is I help people work through interviews. And this technique, even though you think about it as an interview, the individuals that I have worked with said, do you know what, Teresa? Every time I am asked my opinion, I go back to the Star Plus technique because it is so easy to put everything into a process that will flow nicely for you as you decide how you're going to share that success it is. So I'm going to go through it really, really quickly just so that you can be reminded of what it is. When you are asked, hey, tell me about that time you got into a conflict with somebody, how did you deal with it? And when we answer that question, we're not going to answer it, well, I just got a helper, I got a mediator, and let them deal with it and I'm done, right? We can't do that. We need to actually highlight what skill we want to put a spotlight on. And when we are stepping into our power, there are a lot of competencies that we can recognize, that we're a good leader, we're a good team player, we are an absolutely brilliant communicator, we understand interpersonal communication, we understand how important it is to collaborate, right? So when we come to the situation, we want to be very brief about it. So I had this particular conflict. I had a big team that I was dealing with, had 10 people I wanted to work with. I had a big project to set new objectives for the organization. So I divided the team into 3 subsets. And it became very clear very early on that there were a few people that did not understand each other. They didn't get on and they were causing us delays. Mm-hmm. So really, in a nutshell, my challenge was we were being delayed. How am I going to overcome that challenge, right? So really succinct summary of the challenges that I face. Then we look at the task. What is the objective now? And a lot of people look at the task and they think, well, my task is to do A, B, and C. And we don't want to focus on it that way. We actually want to be really strategic. And so we want to think, well, I had this challenge, people aren't getting along together, this is a conflict. So my overall strategic objective was to have a cohesive team that could work together. And in order for that to happen, I knew I needed to bring somebody in that was a professional, an expert at mediation, so we could understand exactly where the problem lay. So that was my objective. So it's really key that you look at it in a very strategic manner, especially if you're trying to be recognized for a big time promotion or you're going to be managing a big team. Now the important part happens. When we develop this story a little bit more, now this is the meat of the story. This is the action. This is what you did. And you want to be really owning those things that you accomplished, that you took part in. When I talk to a lot of people, I don't know about you, Patty, I always tell them when they're trying to go for an election or whatever, we need to be very inclusive and have we want to make sure that we're reaching for the stars. We as a team are going to collaborate and do this. For this particular type of story, I want you to focus on I, like the I am beautiful. When I look at me, I can see this, because now we want to highlight that powerful super gift that you have. Mm-hmm. And you want to say, I owned this project. I looked at who would be the best mediator to bring in to make this team understand how they could work better together. I negotiated a price that would ensure we were not over our budget. I found the right venue in order for everybody to get away from business and focus specifically on the task. This is the one and only time I would say I is good. And even if you're doing it as a team, you still want to be recognized for that skill that you took responsibility for. And you'll spend 60% of your time in your story telling about the actions that you took. But you cannot stop there. A lot of people stop with their stories there. They said, oh, I did this, 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 and this, and it was wonderful. No, you now have to tell us, what was the result? And when we talk about the result, I want to know more than, well, we wound up working well together. Yeah, Patty? I want to know, how did the action that you took actually impact your team? How did it impact your team? How did it impact the organization? And how did it impact you? So when I look at all the actions I took for that particular group, the result that came out of that was, as a leader, I found a new way to work with the team more effectively. And the result from that was the team members were able to identify who worked well together, and who we needed to put with a different group of people so that the team would be more effective. That meant that we were on time. Our deadline did not pass. We were able to save the company money because we actually ended early, and they could then implement this strategy 2 weeks before they thought they would have to. So all in all, the team was in a better place. I felt like a better leader, and the organization benefited financially and in time saving. And that's really, really powerful. It's not just we got along and everything worked out fine. It's really showing the impact on all three of those areas. But the golden nugget here is, if you really want to be recognized, if you really want people to understand that you get it, that this skill that you're highlighting to them is so powerful, you need to now share the lesson that you learned from that challenge, from that situation. I know now, whenever I am going to work with a team of 10 or more people, I am never going to just divide them all up. I'm actually going to sit down and have a major half a day or a whole day workshop on understanding each other's way of working, way of communicating, way of leading, because then and only then can I pull together a cohesive team that will work effectively and be able to meet those objectives in the future. So that lesson learned is probably the most powerful part of this STAR Plus technique that you can bring to the table. And many of the people that I've worked with said, God, Teresa, every time I'm asked a question, I actually go through this. And when I go to the lesson learned, the people that I'm talking to go, wow, I was really impressed with, everything that you said. But when you told me, in future, you're going to look at it this way and look at it in a different way, I know that you are going to continuously be that life learner. Remember, we talked about being a life learner? So every time you're asked a question, think about this STAR technique. And, I could go into a lot of detail about it. And I know that our masterclass is getting really, really close to the end, but I just want to go through really quickly a summary of how to use the STAR Plus technique. So when you look at your situation, you're focusing on what the circumstances were and what you were challenged by, and you write a brief little summary of it. The task, again, is this is your strategic goal of what you want to work towards to overcome that situation, that challenge you were faced with. The action is, what did you do specifically to address that situation? Do not go, we made a decision as a team. What did you do? Focus on you. The result is, what was the outcome and how did it impact the organization, yourself, and the team? And the lessons learned is, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about others? And how are you going to approach this going forward? So Patty, that is it in a nutshell as far as the STAR Plus technique is concerned. And I know that if we go through everything that we have worked on today, the introducing your voice, give us a little summary of what we talked about there.
Well, everything, that we have discussed today, I mean, the work that Teresa and I do, I hope that you will agree with me, is very simpatico. It's very complementary to each other, because you kind of can't have one without the other. You can't really step into your power if you don't have the confidence and the self-belief. I love in the STAR principle, the action. I wrote in there that in the chat room, that the action is like owning what you've done and your competencies. It's like owning your strengths instead of kind of little being a little bit like this. I really love it. I think that, when you put this all together, this is why it is called Speak Up. Yes, we're both teachers of that. Stand out. Absolutely stand out. Always differentiate yourself. Teresa and I, as we were putting this work together, and I, as an entrepreneur for 52 years, that's been like the number one question. Okay, how do I differentiate myself from all the others? And especially now there's so much competition in the coaching world. Teresa and I have created a program that we believe does differentiate us from the others. And we want you to be differentiating yourself from the pack by standing out. And you do that by transforming your voice. So when you speak up, when you dare to stand out, when you have the courage and the skills to transform your voice, you can really step into your power in a way that probably you haven't done before. We use our stories. We're all stories. Even if you have to give a report on numbers are stories. I mean, if the numbers are up, it's a great story. If the numbers are down, it's not such a good story, but there's a story behind it. Really get in touch with us. We want you to expand your thoughts, learn, study, become. It's not that you have to become better, because there's nothing wrong with you. But
And
there's so much still to do.
Oh my God, there is so much more to do. But remember, we gave you homework. So do not forget, the homework is there. And like we said at the beginning, this is experiential. We can give you all the theory all day long. Until you put it into practice, it will just remain on the paper. It will just be theory. And that's why, like, this is what makes us different. We don't want you to just hear the theory. We absolutely want you to do that homework, because then and only then will you literally step into your power. And when Patty was talking about how all of this works together, and that now there is something even bigger, and we wanted to share that with you today, because we are doing something that is going to be quite powerful for people wanting to go forward and step further into their power, because we're actually going to be running an annual program for women to speak up, stand out, and transform your voice. And it's going to start in January. And we're looking at trying to run a monthly program, a monthly coaching program for any woman that wants to come on and actually develop their voice, fine-tune their speaking skills, identify their strengths, and step into their power. Because this program, it's not something that we just do in a very short amount of time. The more we work at it and we work with people and we have other individuals we can bounce ideas off of, the better we get. And that's what Patty and I want to share with so many people. We want you to get better. We want you to speak up, stand out, and transform your voice. Patty.
Well, it's so experiential learning is so very important. And I had a client in the days when I was teaching accent reduction. And if you have an accent, I don't ever want you to apologize for it, because the accent's also part of your soul. But I digress. This gentleman was a very renowned oncologist. I won't say where he's from, because you might be able to identify him if you're in that world. His accent was getting in the way. An accent is, you got to know the music. If you know the musicality of the language, you can speak in the rhythms of the language. That's why accent isn't your problem. You just need to study the musicality. Well, now he was an academic. He had many, many degrees, and he was going around the world speaking. He had some really great breakthroughs on breast cancer. It was really exciting, but nobody would listen to him. And I used to say, but you're not practicing. He said, yeah, but I got this new book on accent reduction. I said, my dear man, I think he had every book ever written on accent reduction, and he was reading it, but he wasn't using his voice, he wasn't practicing. And after a couple of years, he got very, very discouraged. I put him in touch with Toastmasters. They all said, can't understand you. You should take an accent reduction program. He said, I've been doing it for 2 years. I said, I cannot help you if you don't do the work. Now, Teresa and I, we come from that school of learning by doing. because what we teach is not something that neither of us have PhDs. Well, we have PhDs in the School of Life. In my many, many years of coaching, I have been schooled, coaches. Yes, I've had many coaches, still do, but my best teachers are you, my clients. And we learn how to coach through you. And what we both have to tell you is that this is not textbook work. You can read every book on voice and be fascinated. You can read every herstory of women who have stood into their power and said, that's really good. I want to be just like her. But if you don't take the steps, you're going to be just right where you are. My old skating coach used to say that nothing comes for free. He was an old school guy from Austria. And he used to say, life is like a slot machine. If you pay a penny, you get a penny. But if you pay a buck, you get a buck. Meaning, if you put in a little tiny bit, you'll get a little tiny bit. Teresa and I are very serious about work. It's not really work if you love doing it. And when you see, I really think that in 30 days, you'd notice an improvement just from what you've learned today. This coaching program, which we are putting together based on all of our years of experience and learning, is for you to accomplish these things, work towards promotion. Maybe you're an entrepreneur and you really want to invest in your company, in your product, in your service. You have to be ready to do the work. You have to be dedicated. If you've ever read Think and Grow Rich, it's all about your desire. It's all about consistency, about showing up. I'm not one of these people that says, yeah, take a class with me and you'll be presto, you'll be fixed. And I know Teresa's like that too. If you're tired of being overlooked, if any of these things here relate to you, we can help you with the one caveat. Get your pen, get your paper, and come ready and willing to do the work. And then you will see the results.
My mama always told me, Teresa, you can be and do anything you want as long as you work at it. Because there are so many of us that sit there and think, I can be what I want to be today. I hear, with a lot of teenagers that I work with, they say, I want to be rich. And I say, how are you going to get there? Oh, I don't know. I'll figure it out. But so you've got to work in order to achieve, in order to progress, in order to be the person you really want to be. And I think there was a John Maxwell quote that said, are you willing to do what it takes?
Absolutely.
Because it's not easy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard work. But if you really want this, if you really want to unleash your potential, become more self-aware, understand the art of self-expression, the power of stories, and all of these things that we've got here that we'll be working on a monthly basis, you need to work. And what Patty and I are going to do, we don't want you to sign up today. We don't, we're not here to sell this to you. We want to know if you're interested, though. Is this something that would resonate with you? And if you want to talk to us about it, I've got a link down at the bottom that is a Calendly link. It'll come to my calendar, but Patty and I will work together on that so that we can have a conversation with you about it and see if it's a fit for you, because maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Mm-hmm. We won't know that unless we have that call. Mm-hmm. So the QR code also allows you to kind of like use your phone. Technology is all over the place, right? So that phone, use your phone, capture it with your camera, and it'll take you straight to the link. And you just book a time that's convenient for you. And me and Patty will be there waiting to talk to you about leveraging your influence, support networks that will help you, become even more collaborative, because we don't ever do anything on our own, do we? There's always somebody or something that helps us.
Yep. People say I did it on my own. They're not telling the truth. There's always somebody that comes to help you. And yeah, I think, when I talk, to just get back for a moment to the work, it's not like slogging along like, oh my God, it's not that. It's quite joyful. Yeah. We're not asking hours of every day. We're not telling you have to turn in your homework. None of that. It's you go at your own pace, and what you put in is what you're going to get out. Many young people today, I have an argument with them. I was at an event recently, and a young woman was speaking, very young, early 20s, maybe 20. So, the problem with old people, and she looked right at me and she said, is that you think you have to work hard. You don't, you have to work smart. So I have a son who's an entrepreneur, and he's really rather successful. He's turning 46. So I said, this is starting to bug me. I mean, she was looking right at me. And, I was an almost Olympic figure skater. I worked hard. You got to do 20,000 hours minimum, they say, to master your craft. So I got in touch with my son and I said, okay, you're doing well. Are you working hard or are you working smart? He said, I'm working both.
Yeah.
But anybody who thinks that they can get to the top without working hard is fooling themselves. There's nothing wrong with hard work. And if you think that hard work is too hard, I'm going to ask you just to change your mindset, because here it is. What are you worth? What are you worth to yourself? A little bit of get down and practice, a minute here, 5 minutes there. Are you kidding? It's nothing. It's nothing. So when we talk about work, we're not talking about, if you don't have your homework done, we're going to phone your mom. And not that at all. It's up to you. If you don't have your homework done, you don't have your homework done. It'll take you a little longer to learn it.
Yeah.
So it's really important that, if you're going to work with Teresa, and I had a teacher years ago, and she used to say, if you don't show up present to the work, then don't show up at all.
Patty, that is such a statement. You have to be present. We have to be present. If we are not present there for you, shame on us. But we come prepared. We are present even before we even get on the call. We are working on everything prior to each call that will happen. And just as far as logistics are concerned, the idea is that we have 2 calls a month. And you come to those calls to learn some of the theory, and then to also do the practice and do the work to improve yourself. And each month will be a different topic. And it doesn't matter when you join.
Yeah. Yes.
You can join it. We're not starting at step 1. We're starting at whatever your step 1 is. Whenever you decide you want to join us, that's where you will pick up and carry on through the program, because it's not a must start here. It's something we can do as we go through.
And you come also to share your successes, your stories. Again, let me use figure skating. We learn by falling. Matter of fact, as a figure skating coach, you teach 2 things right away: how to stop and how to fall. So if you fall, you just get back up because you learned. And in figure skating, the ice is hard. You're going fast. You can hurt yourself. So you learn pretty quickly. I'm not doing it that way again. But you come in and we share that safe community. And when we get into that group, that's where the confidentiality becomes more important, so that you can really come and bare your soul and know that nobody's going to, you won't believe what so-and-so said in my class today. No, because that is forbidden. We don't allow that, because that's not supporting women. And we come to support each other. So you come and tell us about your actions. You come and say, well, I tried this and it didn't work at all. And then maybe some of the women in the group will say, I tried that. So we get together. We want to build a community. I just can't say it enough, and you're probably tired of me saying it already. The world is waiting for women. The silence of our voices in the boardroom, in the military rooms, in the political arena is deafening. Yes, politically, more and more women are stepping up, but globally, we're not being heard enough yet. It's up to us, unless you live in a part of the world where, like in southern Afghanistan, where the Taliban won't let you speak, but most of us don't live there anymore. Most of us come, even in the Middle East here, women are just talking up a storm. Nobody's holding us back. Come present to the work. You have 2 very dedicated women here who have been through it. I have a rule: if I don't work with people I don't love. So when you come and work with me, and I know Teresa feels the same way, you'll be held in the palm of our hands, and we will support you, and we will love you, and we will do everything to help you get to the top of your game.
Absolutely. And I'll just end it with this. I worked with Patty because she cared. And I knew she cared. I could feel it. And it's like that vibration that we talked about earlier. When you can feel that message or you can feel that love, then you know you're in the right place. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to feel that you're in the right place. So think about everything that we've said. Think about how you want to speak up, how you want to stand out, and how you want to transform your voice. Give us a call, book an appointment, and we cannot wait to start working with you to see where you want to get yourself in this new world that we're all about, because there's bound to be something that you care about so passionately that you need to speak up and you need to stand out so that other people can learn from your experiences. Patty?
I just want to say thank you very much for spending your time with Teresa and me today. And we are here and we are available, and just contact us and do the work that comes in the bonuses that you're given, because that alone will make a huge difference. As I said earlier, it's not about selling a program. It's about helping women rise to the top of their game.
Fabulous. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon.
Bye.